Welcome back to the latest ITESOFT Insider View. In this episode we're once again joined by our partners over at VAT IT. So welcome back, Jamie. It's great to have you here again. Last week we were talking about our two companies, what we do, how we work with each other and what we offer to the market. If you haven't already had a chance to watch that, please go back and check it out. This week, however, we're going to look forward to some of the things that we've been able to do together and how some of our successes have played out. I'm going to look particularly at how that's affected the automotive industry. So the automotive industry is a big global industry, obviously making cars and vans and all sorts of other things. Somewhere in the region of 70 million vehicles were sold last year. It's a massive, not only manufacturing and logistics organisation, and it covers multiple things in supply chain complexities across borders. So it covers a lot of the key areas in a really quick and simple way for us that sort of highlights where we really can bring benefit to people. So Jamie, do you want to just start us off and talk about a couple of examples from your perspective?
Of course, and I think you picking up on the complexities of the supply chain, that's absolutely something with accounts payable transactions where we have to look into the transaction, whereas your travel is more rules based, your foreign travel. The accounts payable side, VAT can be correctly charged and therefore we can help with the reclaim of that, and equivalently it could also be incorrectly charged, where I'll go into some examples where we can talk about that flow through the supply chain. That's very important to understand then the mechanism and how you can reclaim the VAT. So the automotive industry, as it is for you, it's one of our largest industries in the business where we help clients worldwide. The first example I'd like to give you, and I'm going to do this through transactions that we've helped deal with for our clients, and that's the manufacturing of customized parts, molds, dies through tooling.
Yep.
So if I just set it up in a way where you have, for example, a European Italian registered entity, they are ordering parts from a Polish supplier through the Polish procurement team. Now, in order to make those parts that Italian registered entity are going to buy from that Polish supplier, essentially they need to buy tools, the Polish supplier, in order to do that. So essentially those parts are made in Poland by that Polish supplier using that tooling, and then essentially the Italian registered entity will purchase the parts from that Polish supplier. Now, given that there hasn't been a taxable supply made in Poland, Polish VAT is charged on the accounts payable invoice on that transaction.
Yep.
The Italian registered entity therefore have an accounts payable invoice which can go through your system. Absolutely. With Polish VAT on it.
Yep.
Now that Polish VAT is reclaimable through a mechanism in the EU law that allows for reclaim from that Polish tax authority, and therefore we can step in and we can help by understanding the complexities of the supply chain, the flow of the goods, to help recover that VAT. So that's a very prevalent tooling example which occurs in some of our largest automotive clients that we service at the moment, and when you're doing that submission to the tax office to reclaim that VAT, often a letter of explanation is required that we help our clients draft to make sure that tax office is fully aware of the flow within that supply chain for an effective refund and submission from that transaction.
Okay, so the complexities within the supply chain make this that much more important, because you're seeing goods and services being procured from one country that appear to come from a second country, but actually there's a third or fourth or fifth country involved in the whole process that just adds layers of complexity here, and that's where you can add that real benefit to cutting through, I guess, all of that complexity and going, right, here's what is reclaimable, and allowing those companies to get that money back.
Absolutely, and you need that person with the knowledge of that jurisdiction and the jurisdictions in play, of the nature of the transaction, the flow of goods through that supply chain, to basically be able to compliantly recover that VAT first time round.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What we see from our side with this is a very it's the internationalisation that brings the real challenges, and the variety of what's going on within them as an organisation. So not only have you got the whole manufacturing process that's kicking in, and a traditional accounts payable product part, numbered part, known part. We've got all the legislation around that from a security and safety perspective. There are regular occurrences of recalls having to happen for products, and having to track the individual instance of a battery or a component widget to which car it goes through. So you've got all of that element of it from a sort of traditional manufacturing. And then on the flip side of that, you've also got a full sales and marketing operation running. You've got TV ads being procured, you've got commission being paid out to people trying to do the selling, you've got garage operations operating in all of these countries. And so from a accounts payable perspective, there's a real variety of what's coming through from those traditional purchase order based, fixed, just-in-time delivery goods that match, three-way match, really, absolutely what everybody would love in a perfect environment, through to, an advertising agency telling you that they've charged you for the privilege of going to have a look at a bit of road somewhere in the world because it's got the perfect bend or angle or whatever it is that's going to create that wonderful advert that's going to mean that we all run out and buy more and more of whatever the car is. And being able to support that and cope with that in that global environment is a real key element that customers and our customers are looking for, and we're able to support our customers in that, helping them put shared service centres in place so that they can really drive the benefit of that automation and that globalisation through what they're doing, and really enable them to really drive that huge reduction in their accounts payable manual staff load, to get them away from that manual processing onto the automation, and seeing a reduction in manual effort of between 50 and 75% in those customers. And I think that's where real benefit is coming from one or two of our customers that are operating in that space. What about yourself? Some other examples?
Yeah, I've got something else for you. So I want to discuss warranty post-purchase of a vehicle. So let's again go with your Italian registered entity. They're manufacturing and supplying vehicles worldwide. So that vehicle, when they sell it, that comes with a warranty. And there are obligations around that warranty, and you always need to look at actually who's delivering that warranty. So sometimes companies will use a local engineer in that country to essentially deliver that warranty obligation. When those local engineers are performing that work, there's every chance they could be billing cross-border with foreign VAT that's recoverable. However, you've also got to consider whether actually there's a place of supply issue, where if you're selling that car in another country and you're exceeding the threshold for VAT registration in that country, it just depends which mechanism you reclaim by. So you may have to register in that foreign country. So that Italian registered entity, let's go with Poland again, selling into Poland, they've hit the threshold, all the requirements of that country, they need to register, and therefore rather than doing a cross-border reclaim, you're actually doing a reclaim through a domestic mechanism in Poland. However, as you said, the benefit of one of the benefits of your system is a point to coordinate those global accounts payable invoices coming in, and essentially businesses that are administered from, let's say, Italy in this example, that aren't aware of the Polish legislation. You talked about legislative complexities in different areas, that don't know how to file a return there, that don't understand what's reclaimable and not in Poland because they're based in Italy. We can help them, and we'd advise them and look again in that into that supply chain to understand which mechanism for reclaim, whether that's a foreign or a domestic, you need, and then we can help clients with the setup around that so they're structured compliantly from a VAT perspective. So there are really nice synergies in terms of what you're talking about with us.
Yeah, and I think one of the other key things within the automotive industry is this, is this globalization, and having to deal with the ways that tax is handled, and VAT particularly is handled differently in different jurisdictions around the world. So whether you're in somewhere like Brazil, where you've got a kind of nota fiscale, where the invoices go via the government before they come to you, and to ensure that the tax is collected in advance rather than post the event, as we have here in the UK. Same in Italy, in fact. So it's making sure that the solution is in play that can interface and support those big global manufacturers and their own suppliers who are wanting to do things through EDI, people that want to send in documents through standard traditional emails and paper, and also these kind of regulatory requirements to ensure that they're compliant. So from your perspective, this is about making sure that they can reclaim what they have spent or they shouldn't have done from ours. It's actually making sure that they're legally compliant before we even get to that point, and we're not all off to prison. And that's critical too for our customers, and especially in that kind of automotive industry where the manufacturing has been moved to the right area in the world, either for that's been done for two reasons from that industry, hasn't it? One is about low cost, where can we do it cheaper, but it's also actually where are we servicing the industry. So a lot of manufacturing for some certainly in the luxury car end market is now being moved to China. That's not because it's cheaper to build it out there, but that's because that's where the demand is, and actually it's better to do it in that way.
You're talking about compliance, and that's
exactly
the key thing is this structured compliantly, and however you reclaim, or however you drive the right behaviours, it's that compliance that's so important. And
Definitely.
the beauty in what we're both doing is we're actually helping, almost as consultants, educate our clients in terms of that international landscape and how it operates, so that they feel more empowered within their businesses to understand and take it up to different stakeholders or bosses, and be able to really understand that through using our services.
Exactly that. So that's brilliant. And look, thank you, Jamie, for discussing this. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Insider View. I think it's been really useful, and if you found that helpful, please do get in touch with ourselves, and we can help you to explore this in more detail and hopefully save you some money. We look forward, hopefully, to joining us again next time, where we will be looking at some of the legislation specifically and what changes are happening around that and the impact that's going to have on organisations. We're going to talk about the Brexit word. I know. So we look forward to seeing you then, and thanks for joining us.